you're trying to repair a relationship in your family, you don't start by hiring a lawyer. You start by talking to them.
Once we figure out where we're at, then we're able to figure out how a deal can be formed. That's the reality of the situation. It doesn't hurt anybody, doesn't insult anybody.
The Scottsdale City Council voted this past week to pay a lawyer $100,000 to explore legal options against a planned billion-dollar headquarters for taser maker Axon. A new state law that takes effect in the fall cleared the way for the project by banning a planned citywide vote later this year or next. Now, it's not just a Scottsdale story. The law could affect voters across the state who might want to challenge local developments. Joining us now is Scottsdale Mayor Lisa Borowsky, a lawyer and former council member, now 5 months into her first term as mayor. Welcome to Square Off.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Good to see you. You inherited this project when you became mayor. It was approved by the previous council. Did you support it when the previous council approved it? Again, you didn't have a vote, but as a citizen then, did you support it?
I did not.
Why not?
Because of the ultra-high density multifamily, and because I had been campaigning for a year and also knew that the overwhelming majority of residents in Scottsdale were vehemently opposed to the project.
And you've made clear you're not a fan of apartments in Scottsdale.
I think we're good. We don't need any more apartments. In fact, just in that 5-mile vicinity of Axon, we did search 21,000 units, over 21,000 units within 5 miles of the Axon site with a 5% vacancy rate as of 3 months ago.
And the Axon project, as I understand it, would add 2,000 apartment units?
1,800.
1,800 or so. But the issue right now isn't necessarily the apartments. It's a law passed by the legislature.
The issue right now is the legislation that was signed by our governor, and that is my biggest issue right now.
And so the council voted 5-2 this past week to hire an attorney for $100,000 to examine whether the city should sue Axon or the state.
The state.
The state.
Well, the state.
The state.
I'll defer to the lawyer who's handling the case to talk about the specifics, though.
Okay, pretty good lawyer. Dominic Dre has appeared before the U.S. Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court. You are a lawyer, though. What are the potential legal issues here?
Well, I don't do this type of law. I've done commercial litigation my entire career, and this constitutional issues or arguments are way outside of my scope.
Okay, what would you say to taxpayers who wonder whether $100,000 is worth spending right now?
I would say that the agenda item was for $200,000, and I made the motion, an alternate motion, to reduce that in half because we need the ability to get a competent legal opinion, which I know won't cost $100,000. And by the way, of course, lawyers bill as they go by the hour, and they spend what they use, and the rest stays in a trust account. So it's not, here you go cash the check, and that's it.
I think his meter runs at about $800 an hour.
Yeah. Well, he's purportedly a great lawyer, so we got the best.
You'll find out. There's also a citizen initiative gathering signatures for a statewide vote in November 2026 to overturn this state law that allows the Axon project to go forward. Do you support the initiative?
I do. I support the referendum process and the voters' right to petition their government, which is also an issue in Scottsdale in this case.
Now, getting back to the apartments, was there any attempt to negotiate that with Axon before this got as far as legislation at the Capitol in the early spring? Was there any attempt to negotiate on the apartments?
I tried. I know others in our organization did try to meet with them. My personal experience, I'll speak to, was very productive when I met with Rick Smith and his team, and I thought we had the opportunity, and I know we could have resolved it. If it were just me and Rick Smith and a few others around us, I know we can resolve this. We could have resolved it back then.
Okay, now that's interesting because the CEO of Axon said the same thing this past week after the council vote. Here was the response to the council hiring an attorney from Chief Executive Officer Josh Isner. Said that before the council meeting, he thought a deal could be reached in a matter of weeks. He asked the city, quote, not to raise the temperature, but that didn't happen. And, quote, when the Scottsdale City Council decides to lower the temperature, we will be standing by as willing and productive partners. It's too late for that, isn't it?
Well, here's the thing. Reality and what actually happened was we had started down the road of productive discussions about how to lower the temperature on the project itself and come up with a reasonable solution that would that the residents of Scottsdale would buy into and that Axon could live with. But that a week later, they were at the state legislature going through the process with this bill that did eventually pass, and there were no negotiations to speak of during that time. So it would have been great to continue that dialogue, but we are here now. The legislation has passed, notwithstanding Axon. Let's set Axon, this project, aside. This is legislation. This will be a law that impacts Scottsdale moving forward. That's a big issue.
And also impacts other communities. It would bar citizens' right to go to a citywide vote on major projects.
It does, but as the mayor of Scottsdale, I am focused on protecting my residents and our future.
Does this effectively kill the Axon deal? When you look at the timeline here, if there's an initiative and it gets on the ballot, that's going to go out to November 2026. How does Axon get any financing to do anything for the next year and a half?
So I don't know the answers to Axon's question. I do know, having practiced commercial litigation my entire career, when litigation or disputes start, it seems like there's an impasse that cannot be overcome. However, it's the quickest way to mediate disputes and resolve them.
Are you willing to lose the Axon deal over this? Let Axon go to Texas or some other Arizona city? I
have been on the record the entire time. I prioritize keeping Axon in our community, and I know there's a way to do it.
We'll find out. Mayor Lisa Borowsky, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.